What's going on, crew? We're back here in West Pac down in Orange County with Mark Baker. I got my boy Maky here. Today we got 2 forces of the cleanup crew. Shout out to Tone and Earl. We miss you guys. We're gonna have a special episode for you guys. We got some lovely ladies out here from Los Angeles that are gonna be our guinea pigs for some of the fundamentals of bowling today. A lot of people obviously want to have a ball that looks like Maky's with 600 revs, going 20 miles an hour down the lane, but everybody doesn't bowl like that. So we're going to give you guys a great representation that's going to be a template for you to be able to focus on some of the fundamentals of bowling that can hopefully improve your game and take you to the next level. You got anything for them?
Yep. One fundamental I learned, straighter is greater. You're probably going to see them play a lot more right with the lower rev rate that they have. So just to match up ball speed and rev rate.
Yeah. So for the people out there that don't have 1,000 revs and still want to be able to figure out how to make the game work for them, I promise you, this is the right place. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit that button. We love your support. Keep on supporting us, dropping questions in the comments. We love that. And we're going to tap in with the GOAT Mark Baker and some of the ladies and see what we're doing today.
Let's get it.
All right, out there, so this is what I do for a living. We're going to have 3 real quick lessons today, but this scenario plays out almost every day when I go to work. Isa has been here before, so that's like a repeat lesson. We're just fine-tuning her fundamentals. She already bought into the Baker box where the tape is. We'll talk about that. Every ball's going through there. Then we have Julia. Now, Julia has a very unique thing. This is the West Pac Training Center, Western Pacific Bowling Supply. One thing we have lots of here is oil. I never lack oil. So the lanes are oiled. They're a lot more than everybody's typical house shot. And what happened? She brought a ball that didn't hook enough. So we had to change things around. Hey, I wasn't expecting this much oil. I hear that all the time. So they didn't bring enough equipment or they brought what they have. We have to make it work, and we will. And then JC, this is the perfect thing we talk about every time. I typically bowl one center. She bowls one netka. A lot of free hook between 5 and 10. That's because your man Rich, the mechanic there, always makes the lanes nice for you guys out there in the valley. So here, I don't have a lot of free hook. What did she do? She lined up wrong with too much rotation, and she tried to throw it better and not move right. Well, we're gonna fix all those things and put them all in balance and have a great day in the lanes.
I'm JC Opiana, and I'm from West Hills, California, and my home center is Winnetka. So my parents are mainly Filipino. My mom's Chinese, but she's like grown-up Filipino. Because I don't really keep track of how long I've been bowling, it's just been a long time now. I just kind of say like, I popped out of the ball return, that's how long I've been bowling for. But I want to say I started when I was like 7-ish. My sister took me to the bowling alley, and then I took it more serious when I was like 9 or 12. I don't know. That's a big gap, but somewhere there, yeah. I bowled a lot of JATs and a lot of JBTs, and then I bowled 2 junior golds, and then COVID. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I guess. I was very grateful to have a lot of coaches that were supportive of me. I didn't really stop bowling. I did because I felt like I was burnt out, but at the end of the day, I ended up going back to it, something that I love to do, so.
What's your highest game?
300! Wait, why 2? 300!
That too.
Yes. The one thing that I can improve on my game, I think it's just mental and also just catching the transition. I feel like I've been lacking in catching the transition. I used to be better at it because I've been bowling a lot, but now that I'm literally an adult and I don't bowl as often, it's just you don't use it, you lose it. But catching the transition is what gets me, and then also when to change my ball. I kind of feel like I just it gets so stubborn that I just use the same ball all the time, and it's just oh, I can make it work. But you can't use a screwdriver when you're supposed to hammer it in. So.
That sounds like a Mark quote.
He was my coach before, so yeah, you can't do that. But now I'm just kind of more open to my options with the balls that I use. Still under Storm and Rotogrip and 900 Global, but I'm still oh, I can change to this ball, and understanding what my ball does and the motion and stuff like that.
I love that. And what's your highest series?
My highest series, I don't even, I think it's like 750 something. 750 something. It was with the 300 game that I shot, but like, I don't even know.
So it wasn't that exciting then.
You know, I'm waiting. I've already bowled enough like 700s that I'm just like, okay, like I'm waiting for my 800 kind of thing.
800 or nothing.
The 800 or nothing.
This is a bowler from Winnetka. She bowls there. I see there all the time, or I used to see there every time I was there. And she assumed my lanes were going to hook, so she played between second and third arrow and tried to spin it. Try that first.
Okay.
So even though that ball struck, that is, you see, that's it. There you go. There's my favorite bowler. I threw a strike and I walked back shaking my head. So the easiest way to talk about it, she was leaving a lot of 2-pins. How much did I make you move right?
From here to here.
So about
that's
12 boards.
12.
So what we're trying to do, I have my tape down there where I have it every day at the training center. It's at 4.5 and at 9.5 at 45 feet. For those tuning in for the first time, my house shot is only 5-to-1 ratio, not really sport, not really house. 27 mils, 42 feet. It's fairly generic to what most places I talk to the mechanic or the owner. So what we got JC to do was move a lot right. If you watch that shot again in the replay, you can see she turns her hand way too soon, and we're working on her. See where her head is right there? You want to have a flat spot or have a very stable release. Where her chin and her knee are at that spot needs to stay stable. As her head goes towards her knee, her chin, that'll make her thumb go forward. If your chin goes down, your shoulder goes forward. If your shoulder goes forward, your thumb comes down right here. Did you see her head? You can go by my kneecap is where the top of her head is. As you see, she goes to the bottom of her swing. She tries to get lower, but now look what happens. She almost has her fingers out in front of her thumb. She comes over the top, misses way inside her target, throws a strike, walks back, shaking her head no. Right. So now we're going to do what I want. We're going to use the tape a different way. We want the ball rolling through the tape. So we're going to move her feet how much? 12?
Yes.
So that's where you should warm up. Even though you know you're not going to play here, always start too far right, see it hook, use the Baker box for feedback. Let's try it this time.
Okay.
All right.
You can do it.
Let's see if we can keep our head up at release.
Mm-hmm.
So the same strike, but in my world, that's still way too much rotation.
No.
Because that was the left side of the tape.
Yep.
But don't shake your head on strikes. It's all good. Do it again.
Okay.
Just roll it. The farther you play right, the less rotation you need to have.
Okay.
So you're sliding on 14. You should be looking at 5. I guarantee you you're not. Where are you looking?
That's the ball.
Huh?
I'm looking at the tape.
You're not looking at anything?
I'm trying to look at the.
I never asked you to move your eyes. So this is really important. I get this all the time. Where are you looking? Well, coach, I don't really have a target. Well, guess what? You're hitting it too. The target isn't because you have to hit it. We talked about it in the questions. I missed my target by 3 every shot I've ever thrown in my life. But because I had a target, it kept my head still. That's all you're doing. Think of it this way. It's like playing darts, except you got to walk 12 feet and it's a 15-pound dart. Them boys from England, their heads never move. Well, bowling, we're trying to do the same thing. The greatest of all time was Earl Anthony. They say he put a glass of water in his head never moved. Guess who would his target the most? Earl Anthony. Now you got this kid, Anthony Simonsen. Head never moves, hits his target a lot. Same thing. So we're trying to get your head not to move, but you have to have a target, because if people don't have a target, they invariably miss left because they want to see where the ball is on the back. Always have a target. By keeping her head up, it puts her hand in a more consistent position. If her head goes down, she's going to come around it, and she's not going to hit that back target. That ball went through the pins completely different. I can tell it's better because she almost smiled, but she didn't shake her head. I give a lot of lessons. Nobody is harder on themselves than females. Now, in your words, how much different are you playing the lane than when you were warming up?
Well, now I'm playing more up, and I'm letting the ball roll and feed into the pocket rather than just trying to do all the work.
There's the best answer I can do it. So what we did was I put the tape down and made her use the tape, trying to get her ball to roll through the tape at 45 feet. It doesn't matter where you stand or where you look. Everybody throws the ball different. We all use different equipment. But that pins are in the same place everywhere you bowl. They want to get hit by a certain angle and a certain motion of the pins. So when she got far enough right and her ball started rolling this way, how many times in a row do you hit the pocket?
All the time.
There you go. So the Baker box is, yes, it's a place to aim, but I use it more for feedback. That's why it's easy for me to coach. Once you do your job and get it through there, then we just make the adjustment, whether it's ball, it's you, the lane. Then the adjustment much easier because that's your job, to get it between that tape, because that's where the pins want to be hit from.
Okay.
All right, look at first arrow.
Okay.
Hit first arrow.
That was first arrow.
Don't collapse. You're just collapsing them. Watch. Look how low you're getting. It doesn't work.
So on the first and second step, I need to like
Stay tall.
stay tall. Dang, I gotta do
So one of the most common things I find with my female students is they've been told all their life to get lower, that knee bend is better. Well, I got news for you. Knee bend does not create leverage. Read a little bit of Archimedes, the guy who invented leverage, some old Greek dude. Didn't say knee bend. You need some knee flex, but it has to stay level from right below the timing spot, right up in this position, through here. If your head to your chin stays stable, you'll create a flat spot. If your head goes towards your knee, your hand has to come around it, you can't have a target. What's the other way? People whose head go up away from their knee, they tend to have the ball come off before their heel, they spin it and miss off to the right. So keeping your head up is important because your hand reacts off your head. And there we go. Hit her target, and that ball rolled. Watch. Head barely moved. Look at the difference. Asher hit first arrow, hit 7. So as a coach, when I see the physical parts happen, it always shows up on video. How'd that one feel? Feel better?
Yes.
Feel easier?
I feel lighter.
So here's a new one for you guys we never talked about. So when it feels easier. As a coach, I see it this way. Who are the best bowlers in the world? The pros. And when you watch a pros bowl, what do they have in common? They all make it look easy. The girls and the guys, they make it look easy, and they're super consistent. The number one request. How do I get more consistent? Well, you see the pros, it looks like they're not even trying. High rev rates, hit the pocket over and over and over. The way you want to look at it, take the word easy. It was easier, right? Mm-hmm. What are pros really doing? When I hear the word easy, I know what that means. It was a stress-free shot. If this has a lot of stress, and you're a pro bowler and you're bowling under the greatest amount of stress there is, bowling for your income, bowling for your family, no greater stress in the world than bowling on tour. I did it, it was hard. But, so their games have to be stress-free, easy, fundamentally sound, to make the stress they're dealing with paying their mortgage payment, their car payment, their Airbnb, and buying Barnes dinner every week. So, this part can't have any stress if you're going to deal with the stress of the tournament and the stress of the lanes. That's why the best bowlers look like they're barely trying. That's why when you bowl league, when somebody says, God, the lanes were terrible tonight, I shot 580, and you ask the one guy, what'd you bowl? I shot 780. Much did you move? A board or two. I thought the lanes were easy. They looked easy to them because they were not using stress. Your game has to be stress-free to deal with the stress of the lanes and the stress of the tournament. So remember, easier is less stress. That's everybody's goal.
My name is Julia. I'm from Canoga, and I'm Mexican-American. I've been bowling for about 20 years. I got started for fun with my uncle and my cousin one day. I started at Mission, and then me and my cousin didn't want to bowl anymore. My uncle didn't want to bring us, and then my parents thought it was like a cool Saturday morning thing, and we've always lived really close to Winnetka Bowl, so they just took me there Saturday morning, and they just never let me leave. When I was a junior, I actually shot my first 800. It was an 800 straight, and I didn't even know I was going for it, so that was kind of cool. And then I've had 4 300s. Yeah. I wish that I didn't drift so much. I just don't know how to come out of that. I've tried. I drift all the time. I drift so much. It's crazy. Yeah. But
How do you feel about bowling shoes?
I do not like bowling shoes. I don't like the design of any of them.
So that's the reason why
Sorry.
you don't like bowling shoes? Because of the design?
Yeah, they look weird.
So what do you typically like to bowl in?
Vans.
Vans.
Vans. Just I bowl in Vans.
And you bowled 300 in Vans.
I did bowl 300 in Vans.
Shout out to Vans.
All right, so Julia, she brought a ball that goes pretty straight. At the West Pac Training Center, we got a lot of oil. So how much farther left are you than normal? So she's 10 boards farther left than normal. Hey, I brought this equipment. I'm taking a lesson. It happens all the time. So as we move her left, and Julia's #1 request is to drift left, to drift less, all I can do, if I leave her eyes in the same place, she's going to keep drifting. So what happens is when you move your feet that far left and your target's here, the easiest thing to do is take your target a little bit farther down. That makes your angle straighter. You won't drift as much. So anytime you're drifting too much, always take your target a foot or two farther down the lane on the same board. That'll tend to get you to walk and roll the ball over that target. So let's try that. Keep your head up. That when your thumb got down a little bit. Everybody's a creature of their, creature habit or a product of their environment. So obviously moving way left, is that your favorite thing to do? There you go. So part of taking lessons is to get out of your comfort zone. A little better, a little better. What she does very well, if you watch here, she does drift a little bit to the left, bowls in her tennis shoes, but right here, her foot comes down. Now watch your head. There you go, the ball gets to their fingertips. Head just goes down slightly, stays in balance. Just has to roll a bit more, but that's what she's very good at, keeping her head still. That's why when I would say when you're on, you're really, really on, correct? Right. So she's still not far enough left and you're still trying to turn it too much, right? Just roll it. When there's more oil, turning it doesn't make it hook more, turning it makes it skid more.
So it's the inverse of that.
I see it every day. Because things that people are told, the more they hook, the more I have to turn it. The more oil it is, I got to get it to hook more. But the more oil it is, you have to get it to roll more. Bowlers who are really good with a lot of oil were Walter Ray, Norm Duke, Chris Barnes. 3 guys who could really, really roll the ball. That was better. That was better. You can still move left, but that one hooked back quite a ways. Watch again here. So there's her head. So now you measure that chin, the difference between her chin and her kneecap. Only goes down hardly at all. And when people do it right, what tends to happen? The ball tends to fall on their fingertips towards the end of their toe. It lands on the lane. Look at her head. From here, her head never moved. Balance is perfect, and now you'll see the ball hook where everybody wants it to hook. She turned it less to hook it more. But first, she had to hit a target. Remember, no matter how much you hook it, the lane's 45 feet of accuracy, 15 feet of hook. You don't need a lot of hook in the first 45 feet. Why? There's no pins. You only need the power of the back 15. So if you can't be accurate the first 45, it doesn't matter how good your release is if you can't get the ball to the right spot at 45 feet. Do it again. So move your eyes a little bit more left. That's all.
So because she doesn't slide, what does she have to do with her feet?
She just has to, when they plant, they just got to really work on not pulling it down with their shoulder like that one. People that plant, when they tend to, I'm not left-handed, but people that plant tend to have, when their foot hits, that's when their shoulder goes down, their thumb turns. You know, the people who are really good at planting, Mike Haugen, Shannon Pulowski, they're really good at planting but not pulling their shoulders down. It's like Mike Haugen can really, really roll it for a person who plants. He's probably the best man. There's some other guys, but I know him. Shannon Pulowski's had a 25-year amazing career. I mean, just one of the best bowlers of all time. And she plants, but she's really soft with her shoulder. That was her best shot today. All that proves I watch way too much bowling. So So let's look again at her head here. So her drift, that's the least amount you drifted today. See that? Because your feet weren't pointed. So you've had your feet. So her feet have been pointed another 20, 30 degrees that way some shots. So if your feet, if this is the way your body doesn't know it's bowling. If you aim this way, your body's gonna look that way. So she got her feet a little square, so she walks straighter. First step's under her head. Much straighter. That was actually pretty straight for you. But now watch what happens. Right there on the end of her toe, her head never moved. So that ball had way more roll, and then it goes through the pins, and you can tell because it goes forward, it doesn't deflect. Good job.
My name is Isa Bautista, and I'm Filipino. I'm from Santa Clarita, born and raised there, and I started bowling in 2006, but got really serious around 2016. And that's thanks to my now husband. He took me on a date, and it was history from there. So my highest game is a 299.
What pin?
I ended up leaving the 4-pin.
Have you bowled it once, or that's only one time?
That's only one time. My highest before that was a 279.
What about your highest series?
My highest series is 757, so.
Very good day.
Thank you.
Felt like you couldn't miss.
Yeah, could have, gotten a little bit more lucky carries, but it is what it is. I would definitely want to improve stability at the line, because I feel like if I'm not balanced, that's when my shots get really wonky. So that for me has been really key.
Okay. Have you been working on that?
Yeah, I'd say so. Come into Coach Baker's training sessions. He's kind of taught me how to just kind of go down once, because I used to go down twice and not drop my shoulders. So yeah, it's helped.
I watched Isa. She lined up off the tape. Immediately we'll let her do her thing. So when you've taken quite a few lessons, then it's just fine tuning.
She's a mom. She knows how to follow directions.
You're allowed to warm up. But in actuality, for a guy who coaches, that's the reaction I want to see. Why? My ball hooked too much. Remember, when your ball hooks too much, there's about 5 or 6 things you can do. You can move, you can switch balls, you can add speed, you can add rotation, you can move and switch balls, you can add loft. There's a lot of things. What happens when you go to a tournament and everything you have doesn't hook? There's 2 ways to look at it. Which reaction puts the fear of God into good bowlers? No hook. So if you see your ball hooked too much, you got plenty of options. It's much better than throwing your first shot and getting 3 on the right. Then you make a move and get 3 more on the right. I don't care who you are. That puts the fear of God in every bowler when their ball doesn't hook. So we're just right off the get-go, right there.
Easiest game of my life.
So you're looking at fundamentals. So if you see them, you haven't seen in a while. So obviously she bought into what I believe in. You get here, timing spot. So the question we had earlier, sliding on the same board. So now if you draw a line through her spine, doesn't move, ball's gonna fall into their fingertips at the end of her toe. That's pretty much the same place I can put every bowler when they throw it correctly. The chin and the knee are on the same plane. Their head's never in front. It's never really much more knee flex than that. Why? They're trying to get the ball out. Balls that go out tend to hook better on the back. Balls that go down and land by the B or the K tend to never hook on the back. So I'm a big believer in getting the ball in the lane, turning it later. Look at her balance. Where's that fall through? We talked about the fall through in the questions. Right through the middle of her face. Look at it. She's not moving. It's actually a slide in my camp. When somebody throws the ball really, really well, all you'll see is their throwing arm going back and forth, and as the ball hits the pins, they take a step back. This is right out of my camp. Step straight back. There you go. No stress on that one.
Right.
So for women that want to increase their ball speed because they may not have strength at times, what's something they can do to increase their ball speed?
You won't like the answer.
I want to hear it. Go to the gym.
More like a lot of milkshakes and cheeseburgers. It's mass.
Yeah.
So that's not a very good answer.
Yeah.
Because her mass is X, so her length of swing is X, and her foot speed can only be X, stay in balance. So it's more about her making her accuracy better, her ball moves better, and her ball choice is better instead of trying to throw it harder. I don't think that ever accomplishes anything. So see, everybody thinks that's a bad shot, but in reality, for a coach, like, that actually hits slightly right of the tape. That has no problem. When you have a little bit of room, she hit the right of the tape, and right on top of the right piece and left piece, that tells me one thing: she's throwing the right ball. You shouldn't have to make a ball work in today's game. Why? They're too damn good. The balls are amazing. Now, what people get in trouble is they want to throw the ball they think they're supposed to throw, or the ball they threw really good last week for a high score. Now, as much as that great as that ball's working, if she stayed here after Rich and Maky bowling her for the next 2 hours, that ball won't work. Now, here's another thing we should talk about. Who's the best bowler in the West Pac Training Center? Normally, I would say me, because I'm so shy and have no confidence. But actually, the best bowler in here is the guy behind the camera, Pistol Pete. The reason why? Because all the good shots you see, he's the editor. So when you're bowling and all those ball videos, it's always the editor who's the best bowler. Good job, Pistol. I mean, it's such an individual thing. For me, as a bowler, when I bowled, I had some very specific times I moved. Also, I was very much a when I bowled league, I didn't have to keep score anymore. I was a scoreboard, dude when I was a kid. So I was very observant around me. So say the two pairs next to me, the pair on both sides and the guys I'm bowling with, there's 8 of us, so there's 7 other bowlers. If everybody on my pair goes high, and I see people on the pairs next to me going high, I don't tend to throw one through the nose and confirm it. I was always moving off you're not playing them the same. All 7 guys on my pair can't go high. All right, here's one for you. You never heard this one yet. All right. So, if I owned a bowling center, what's a cool word now we have? Transition. So if I owned a bowling center and I had these type of scoring units like this, I would have a little flash down that would flop down at specific times. So to make this easy, when's a good time to move? The second frame of the second game. Here's why. Say, Rich, you and I are bowling together. All right, we're bowling anchor with this skill set. All right, give me a minute. So you finish, we're getting the 9th frame. You bowl on the lane 1. I bowl on lane 2. Then we switch to the 10th frame. 4-man teams.
A lot of shots on one lane.
All right, we're getting there, my friend. So what happens? The 3 people on your team and the 3 people on my team all throw their first shot. They all make the spare. This skill set, 180 to 220, a typical good league these days. Everybody makes their spare. Nobody throws a double, but they all get a count ball. So now 6 shots have been thrown in that lane trying to throw a strike. You and I get up. We're the anchor guys. Typically, we throw 3 strikes each. I shoot 258. You shoot 57. You should take more lessons. All right. So it's my story. Come on. So now we've thrown 9 shots. Where do you start the second game of league? On the same pair you finished. So now I get to, all guys on my team get to bowl. That's 4 of us. Now there's 13 shots. So now when I bowl the second frame of the second game and the 3 guys in front of us both bowled, 16 shots have gone down that lane since I was there last. I was a pretty good league bowler, threw a lot of big games. So even if I have the front 13, I shot 300 the first one. When I came to the second frame of the second game, I always moved at least 1 and 1 left. I'm speed dominant. I don't move very much. Why? Because it's easy to make the 2 pin. I can't make the big 4. So if I don't move and it's that shot and I start with a strike, and what else happens? Say Rich and I aren't friends. You're bowling league, so you can bowl league against the guy you can't stand. You look at the league sheet, you see what you shot last week, 750. What'd that asshole Rich shoot? Oh yeah, he shot 650. I got him an average. The only reason I bowl was to beat that guy in league. What if you bowl that guy? So you punch out in the 10th to beat him, so what happened to your adrenaline? It spikes. Especially if you're ex-jocks like us. We don't make dunks anymore, so I get it through bowling. So what happens the second game? All your adrenaline goes away. What happens that first shot, you're still pumped. You get to the second frame, you guys are back there playing the card game, you're not paying attention, you turned up your ace. Next thing you know, you throw a shot fairly well speed, but you big 4. Wow, I thought I threw that pretty good. It must have been me. So you come back, after shooting 250, you strike again in the 3rd frame. Now you come back in the 4th, you don't move because you're gonna throw it better, and what do? You big 4 again. So now you got 26, you got 52 in the 4th. Now you strike, now you move 1 and 1 left and you 4-9. That's how transition works. You're going to shoot 160 after the 250, and you're writing about it on Facebook. I missed a transition. Then I moved game 3 and shot 250 again. There you go. Remember, transition only happens after you bowl good. Nobody's ever said 190, 190, 190. I missed a transition. So next time you bowl a good game, watch the people around you, and when in doubt, move in the second frame of the second game. So if I was Dave Husted or Doug Kent or Robin Romeo, the people I know that own bowling centers, what I would do for fun, I would have a little drop down. On every telescore in a bowling center would flip down the second frame of the second game. I get on the microphone, say, attention please all bowlers. It's transition time. It's officially transition. Please move. Do not complain if you don't. So what's the worst thing can happen? You move too soon, leave a 2-pin, you pick it up, and you know you moved too early. So you handle transition that night. That's what I would do as a proprietor. Merry Christmas. Nobody's got that one.
That, my friend, is Mark Baker in a nutshell.
I'd have that little thing come down. Please make your move now.
No, that's a great note too. I've never heard it explained, but it makes 1,000%.
Well, if you're bowling by yourself and you bowl for, you throw 15, 20 shots, you tend to move that much. So it wasn't your shots. It doesn't matter exactly how they're all playing them. We're all throwing shots down the lane, so we're tearing all that oil off the front. So that's how I did it. Like I didn't want to have a good first game, have a good start, and go there and open. It's like, okay, the worst thing I can do is go mixer, flat 10. Or sometimes I did it and I hit trip 4, like, oh wow, they really changed. But because I moved, I got away with one. Everybody else is opening. Because at the end, I got halfway decent at spares. I just wanted to bowl clean sets. I'd go 3 or 4 or 5 weeks in a row and never open, just moving at these certain times, just to eliminate, because I wasn't going to switch balls. I had one ball. So I like to adjust. So that was my way of doing it. I had very specific times that made it very easy. There was no questioning. I just did it, and it worked out okay. I was a good league bowler. Now it'd have to be probably more because the rev rates are so much higher.
That sounds good to me. Anything you want to leave our people on?
Yes, now the big dogs are going to get a chance to bowl. Maky and Rich are going to come on the lanes. They should start and say thank you to the ladies who broke the lanes down beautifully. Now after an hour of bowling, my lanes are really, really, really nice. When the guys come in and they line up every which way but loose, the lanes, whatever happens, these lanes don't have enough oil. What happened to this place? The lanes are all jacked up. So you saw what happens when you play the lanes right. They get easy. Now the guys are going to mess them all up in the next half hour. Good luck and good scoring. Obviously, I'm having a good time. You can't take yourself ever too serious. All I do for a living is give bowling lessons. I very much appreciate what I do. Nobody likes their job more than I like my job. So I was having a little bit of fun. There's a lot of truth in what I said, but remember, never take yourself too serious. I wasn't talking about anybody ever specifically. I just want everybody to get better, have a fun. Merry Christmas.
Clean up crew. What you gonna do is the clean up crew. Come on through to the clean up crew. Throw them balls, I hope you do, with the clean up crew. The clean up crew.